food tonight. So we're going to do that. So Jenna can go on YouTube and watch us live.
She doesn't feel good.
Nah. Oh.
Watch fucking Grey's Anatomy.
For the 12th season in a row.
Like, no wonder you don't feel good. You're watching the worst fucking TV show in history.
Hey, I wouldn't say it's that bad.
But it's just the same fucking shit every episode.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. I don't even think we're caught up. She gets mad because I get tired of watching like series sometimes like that. Just like with Power, like once Ghost died in Power, I was like, I'm good on this. And now there's like 3 spinoffs. All right, you ready to do this?
Yeah.
Not bad. Damn it. Wrong screen. I had everything going. Let me know. Oh.
Jeff's making a big run. It's meant for him. Jeff is stuck in behind. Jesse scores! Might have paid the price, but the U.S. takes the lead.
Christian Pulisic today has the U.S. take a 1-0 win over Iran to advance into the knockout round of the World Cup, playing the Netherlands at 9 a.m. Eastern Time Saturday morning. Well, here we are, Andy Scott.
How we doing?
I would say I'm still, and this is continued with USA Today, riding a pretty good high from the weekend.
Oh, indeed you are.
As the hail to the victors, the valiant heroes, the Michigan Wolverines took down Ohio State once again to secure their spot in the Big Ten championship game this weekend against Purdue.
72 hours. The rubbed in my face one last time. But Michigan had an impressive performance today, and they deserve to win that game.
The first half of that game was really good. We watched it together. So the first half we were both pretty much on pins and nails, and then the second half just got out of control a little bit.
Yeah, it's disappointing for Ohio State, being an Ohio State fan, that, this season came down to one bad half of football, but you got to, like I said, hand it to Michigan. They came out and they had 5 big plays, and the rest is history.
You guys might get another crack at it, though, coming in 5 on the rankings tonight. So
yeah, I got about a 1% chance that Ohio State is going to make it. USC's just been playing very well.
They have been. Yeah.
Utah beat them earlier in the year, but I think they'll get their revenge, and we're just going to see the same top 4 next week.
We might, but I mean, all it takes is one slip up. We were both on the same page, I think, with saying TCU is locked in. I know a lot of people are still undecided about that. So
I mean, I don't think TCU should be locked in, but the experts to me just seem to think that anybody that's undefeated at this point should automatically be in the playoff. It's not fair to
correct.
Give these teams a downgrade if they lose because they had to play one extra game. I don't think that it should be like that. There's plenty of times where this one extra game has beat a team's resume up so that they've been able to get into the playoffs. So it's just the way it is. Bottom line is you have to be in this game if you
Right.
And,
You have to.
you know, it's just unfortunate that we don't get, a rematch of Ohio State Michigan next week in the Big Ten championship. And then,
but then does that?
Ohio State wins, we could easily maybe say, well, do we go to Ohio State and Michigan? And, it sucks. This is why I've always been because you're always going to have a team or two that doesn't make it to the
Right, I agree.
championship game for the playoff. I still think Ohio State's worthy of being a playoff team. I mean, they lost to a top 3 team. They were winning at halftime. They have a bad half of football.
Correct. And yeah, that.
Now all of a sudden they're done. When you look at it, with USC jumping Ohio State, they've still lost the game too. They lost to a far worse team than Michigan.
That is true.
That has 3 losses. And yet, you can also look at the scenario with Ohio State. They lost the last game of the year. If they would have played Michigan in week 3, they lost.
And that.
Let's just say played Penn State last year season and beat Penn State. Then
Well, they kind of always say it's better to lose early than late in college football.
And it's true. I think that same position last year where they lost to Oregon in the second game, and then they rode all the way up until they got beat by Michigan in the last game. They were 4 with 2 losses. They should have been in the playoff last year. But this year, being undefeated, and 2 undefeated Michigan team, I feel like if this would have been Alabama, Georgia scenario, that we would see Alabama at number 4 tonight.
Maybe. And we saw that earlier this year. I think when Tennessee lost to Georgia and Tennessee was 1, they only dropped to 4. So I guess it's one of those scenarios. It makes sense, but at the same time, Ohio State's losses, I mean, their only loss, but with their wins, works out pretty well for them, I think.
And then my next thing is, okay, if they don't want to stay in the playoff, is there an opportunity that where teams that are in the playoff hunt, can we just schedule another game championship weekend?
And that was what you had brought up yesterday, and it would be really interesting if Ohio State said.
I know they don't want to play those games on I know USC plays on Friday night. The other games are going to be on Saturday. So Ohio State, we'll play.
Well,
they would play Alabama on Thursday night.
Also, I think a lot of it is time for some of these other conferences to get their little moments too, because there's gonna be a bunch of filler games on around the same time.
Right. So I don't know. So that they can know all these guys that play next game. Well, then don't make the extra game count.
Right.
Just let the day be the final for the playoff, and then whoever wins next week, then it just doesn't matter. Still going to be 14. So, I mean, in all honesty, Georgia and Michigan are in no matter what.
Right, I agree with that.
Do you want Michigan to play their guys?
I don't think that Blake Corum needs to play at all.
Right, but he didn't even need to play on Saturday.
No, I mean,
he gave it no.
Yeah, you can't say that from the get-go. Yeah, I mean, I agree with him going and giving it a try, but at the same time, it's okay, I definitely think he could sit out this week. I'll say that.
Well, yeah, if I'm Georgia,
if I'm Georgia, I'm not playing.
There's no way.
Right, and I guess I would go to that might go to the extra game too with Ohio State. If there's no guarantee, why would C.J. Stroud suit up again? I don't expect him to play in the Rose Bowl if you guys make it.
Well, that's a good possibility. I would guess that'd be the case. And they're saying maybe that Ohio State won't even go to the Rose Bowl. That if USC wins, it's going to be Utah in the Rose Bowl, and then they might send Penn
Yeah, Penn State
They
or
might
Purdue.
send,
Obviously, yeah.
Ohio State to the Orange Bowl. So,
No.
which I'd rather.
Oh, yeah.
I hate the Rose Bowl.
No, Ohio State wouldn't go to the Rose Bowl or the Orange Bowl. The only way because no matter what, they're locked into the Rose Bowl. Ohio State is.
They made it sound like on the playoff show tonight that wasn't the case. That they could send whoever they wanted.
I didn't know that at all. Because I always assumed, because everything I've seen is like Ohio State versus Washington. I think right now is what I've seen. I think it's more so Penn State would go to the Orange Bowl if Ohio State makes the Rose Bowl, and then vice versa.
Hey, I mean, I don't know. I also see the thing that like the Rose Bowl might not even be in the rotation after this year.
I think we need to get away from the signifying designating which conferences can go to which bowl games. You know.
Well, they kind of got away from that with the playoff.
Right.
On the off years, like certain bowls aren't in the rotation to be up, then they still kind of go the traditional route. But for me, it's like let's get the best games because it's like you said earlier this week. It's like these conference championship games slow.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Nobody's excited about them.
Aside from, and USC is on Friday night, so even then, like Saturdays are like I'm just gonna wake up and watch soccer. And that's it.
Even that game, like, if there wasn't for the fact that Ohio State's at fifth, me and you don't give a shit about that game even then.
Right.
We're only going to pay attention to it because it has significance to a team that, like, I care about and you care about enough just because of their association with Michigan.
Right. Yeah. And
outside of that, like,
probably not. I mean, right. But I did have a point on that though too. Is that so? Here's my only thing with that is if we're gonna schedule or like the best two teams should play in the conference championship games. So if we just went off the best two teams in the conference, we would be playing Ohio State, Michigan again next week.
Right.
So then,
but I'm fine with that if they're not going to expand the playoff. Like that's just another way to kind of have an extra round of playoff.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Because now, like the teams that are going to be in or we think should be in are most likely going to play, and then we can actually get. Hey, if Ohio State loses again, then we know like they shouldn't be in. If Michigan loses, then maybe we should be putting Ohio State and Michigan in third.
But do you think they would look at it that way? Because I mean, we
might see, like we're going to see this, but by the time USC and UCLA get to the Big Ten, like I think the playoffs going to be expanded anyways. So
yeah, and then
matter.
But it takes away. Here's the other question, because you let me into something I was going to talk to you about later today. Anyway, was the fact that if there's a chance that both Ohio State and Michigan are playing for the conference championship game going into the last game of the season, does that take away from the rivalry?
No, because you don't want to leave. You don't want to leave yourself in the chance like on Saturday.
Okay.
Michigan's 11-0. Like you don't want to leave yourself the chance. Like we're gonna play again next week, but I don't want to be the one that's got 2 losses.
Right, but at the same time,
win this game. I still want to. If I do lose next week, I still have a way better chance. So it doesn't take away anything. If anything, it makes it better because it's like, well, we're going to do it again next week, and you know the stuff that would like, how like a year
yeah.
goes down. Now you're just going to do it a week later, and
I just worry people
I think it'd be great.
Okay.
I'm tired of like the media telling us how like the fans like, oh, it takes away this, it takes away. It don't take away shit from me. Like you don't know what us fans want to for the race.
No, not at all.
Ohio State and Michigan still wanted to win that couple game. They want to get the first round bye.
Plus, we've seen that conference championship games don't matter. Bad losses don't matter sometimes.
And guess what? Some conference games don't matter anymore.
Clearly not.
So,
We've seen some rough ones this year.
Michigan didn't play anybody.
Hey, now we play UConn, and here we are.
Yeah, I seen them come up in the top 25 tonight.
But if you're the Big Ten, like that's kind of the shoe you're forced into because no one gives you credit in the first place. So shit, why I might as well just schedule nobodies and at least be undefeated going into the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, but you know, if Notre Dame didn't suck at the beginning of the year,
Wow, yeah.
we might have seen Ohio State show up in the top 4 tonight.
You might have, but then
Like, let's just say if Notre Dame had lost to Ohio State and USC,
I'm
that
not.
wouldn't have been as bad as them losing, to Stanford and Marshall.
I'm honestly not gonna lie. I was really kind of hoping for Michigan to be number 1, or not hoping, but I really thought they had a good chance at it.
I still thought Penn State should have made it probably above Tennessee.
I'm with you on that. I just feel like I guess if their only 2 losses were to us.
Maybe they should have been ahead of Bama.
Yeah.
Because they lost it, so they lost at number 2, and they lost at number 5.
But here's my thing though.
And on top of that, Alabama should have lost 4 games this year, probably.
Yeah. My only thing with Penn State is I almost wonder if they just didn't have anybody they beat really. Because if your only 2 losses are to us, well, that's your 2 biggest games.
But who did Alabama beat?
I think their best wins, and this is what I was like bringing up with the Ohio State debacle, or the argument too, is like Alabama's best wins are I think Mississippi State and Texas A&M, whereas Ohio State has.
Those are like the same equivalent to what Penn State wins would have been.
But then also like Ohio State wins are Notre Dame and Penn State, which is holding way better value right now than any other team after them.
It is what it is. Hey, if you want to get in, you gotta.
But
if you want to get in the Big Ten, you gotta win the Ohio State Michigan.
And this was the big one for you tonight. Just
even at the end of the day, if one of the teams aren't good and you still lose that game, it's gonna fuck you for getting in.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose that last game, and then you have to go to the Big Ten championship and win by 40.
What?
Have a chance.
Yeah, and this was kind of the big one for you guys too, because you just needed to make sure you were ahead of USC. So I mean, there's no way USC can, or not USC, Alabama, because there's no way Alabama can jump you.
Anybody that thought Alabama would be ahead of Ohio State, that's just much bullshit.
I agree.
Let's just stop with it. Like, yeah, they won a lot of national titles. That doesn't mean like they get the benefit of the doubt every year.
So I got into
a two-loss team that didn't beat anybody in the top 10. Don't forget, Ohio State still beat somebody in the top 10. Yeah, they lost. They lost bad. And guess what? It got a little out of way from them. But, they turned the ball over the red zone that one time. Maybe they get that touchdown.
Well, also, did you see all the stuff about the fake punt? Did you? Yeah, I think what was it, the third quarter when they had that awful punt that Michigan, I think, sacked him on or something, or he barely got it off.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see all that, the aftermath of that?
No.
So it was laid out perfectly, and I think Jim Harbaugh brought it up Saturday night, and he said they had us on a fake punt, and they were going to get, if they would have ran it clean, they would have had a lot of gain. So the center, who was a backup to begin with, instead of snapping the ball to the up man, and now that someone has broke down the play and you can actually see like what was designed, they would have had at least 25 yards, I think.
Well, hey,
and he snapped it. He snapped it to the punter.
People were saying that this game came down to the coaching, and it's amazing because 3 years ago everybody wanted Jim Harbaugh fired,
and we're flipped off.
The worst fucking coach in Michigan history.
Flip the script.
2 years later, or 3 years later, everybody wants Ryan Day's head on a platter.
Which is fucking absurd, honestly.
Which is stupid. Like, yes, I get it. He's not winning the game that he needs to win, but he's still winning a lot of games. And who you get? Who you get? He's
won as many national titles in the last 3 years as Nick Saban. So
do you
I mean, the Fox postgame show clearly did.
Well, but that's a whole other story. But you think that moms and dads are letting their kids in Ohio State learn how to finger tickle buttholes at bars, and Urban Meyer is he's good, but he's good in small business. Like,
yeah, I agree with that.
Like 5, 6, 7 years,
right?
He's on fire. You don't want him any longer than that.
I agree. I agree with that completely. So what?
And on top of like coaching talk too, is like how desperate is Ole Miss that they're gonna pay like
oh my gosh, I know.
There's
that was
like 3 coaches that make more money than they all have.
That was insane.
Titles.
Yeah, and Ole Miss, like, I feel like they try to think they're a better brand than what they are. I mean, like, they have a good game day vibe going, but at the same time,
but they're just they're the classic, like, like a Wisconsin, like, yeah, they'll always win a lot of games,
right?
But they'll always lose when it matters. They'll always lose to Ohio State.
I could see that.
Lose to Michigan. They'll always lose to Penn State. Like, yeah, you're going to get 10-2, 10-3 seasons, but you're never going to play for the national title. And in the SEC,
I
think the SEC is going to get tougher because I think more players are going to go to Texas and Oklahoma once they're in the SEC, where they have the brand to go with the conference.
Okay, well, we saw that with Texas A&M, and how'd that work out for them? They were paying all these guys to come in, all these huge NILs.
I don't know what happened with all of that. But the bottom line is, even if Texas A&M hasn't won consistently, like, they're still the most confident team. Up until recently with Georgia, but I'm dating this back like 5 or 6 years with Texas A&M, that they were my most confident team that could ever beat Alabama. Because year in and year out, if A&M's playing Bama, I always feel like A&M has a chance to win, no matter what the records are. And you see that, A&M's on a down season this year, and they almost beat Bama.
Yeah, I think we're gonna move off college football here in a minute, but I had 2 more things to bring up. I did get into a debate the other day with an Alabama fan about. He was saying that Alabama should make it in just because they're the bigger brand and they can bring in the most people.
Well, I mean, I don't even believe that. Like, I'd have a hard time believing that you can convince me that Alabama has a bigger brand than Ohio State.
And I agree with that too.
Because, yes, Alabama's one, but the only people that give a fuck about Alabama is the people that live down there in Tuscaloosa.
Right.
It's religion to them. Now, when you talk about Ohio State, fucking people hate living in Ohio.
Yeah.
So there's Ohio State fans living everywhere. They travel the best.
They do. They absolutely do.
And a lot of people will say that's why Ohio State's got into the playoffs as many times as they have. Because Ohio State hasn't had the resume
that Alabama's
always had. Alabama's had a lot of undefeated seasons before they've made it. Ohio State's had a lot of one loss.
Right.
And they've always been either 5th or 6th or in. Because they do, I think, take on the Ohio State brand. So if you wanted to have that debate, I would debate that if you want to go on brand, that Ohio State would have a better chance.
Yeah, I
get a playoff based off brand.
I can agree with that.
They have 1 loss, and Alabama has 2 losses.
So
and Alabama lost to teams that aren't in the top 3.
Right. All right. So
Alabama just needs to shut up, go home, and they'll probably lose their bowl game because they're such pussies. They don't even try to win when they don't make it to the playoff. And I think that's dirtbaggish. I know Stroud will probably sit out this year, but it doesn't mean that Ohio State isn't going to try to win that game. And they probably got some guys that can win the game for them. So.
Yeah, I think they probably do. So then, real quick, your predictions going into this weekend. After this weekend said and done, is Ohio State in the playoffs?
I don't think.
Okay.
I think it's basically going to come down to the USC.
Right.
You
definitely will.
playoffs going to be.
I think we definitely will.
If Georgia loses, they'll be
Doesn't
in.
matter.
Michigan loses, they'll be in.
Yeah.
If TCU loses, I assume they'll be in. If they get walloped, then we might see a debate. But
I mean, and also the thing to remember.
And what you're really, if TCU does lose, and this will go back to what we were just talking about, I think the brand will come into a big play.
That could be,
It's going to be way more valuable to have a high state in the playoff than TCU. Like, I don't think the NCAA really wants TCU to be in this thing.
Well, I mean, they showed that before.
You put the Longhorn on that fucking helmet, and they'd be all about it. But they don't care about Texas Christian University making this fucking playoff.
No, not when Texas has been back for 10 years.
Oh, and they just lick their chops too if they can get Ohio State, USC.
Oh, that would be perfect. Oh my gosh.
I mean, the only thing they would want more is just to figure out a way to have Alabama.
Oh, it's coming. So we're gonna jump off college football for a minute. Did you watch the whole game today? World Cup game?
Oh yeah.
When was the last time you watched that much soccer?
Yeah, I always get into the USA World Cup first game I got to watch. Obviously, I've been working the other games, so and I don't give a shit about whoever else is playing. So this is the first one I tuned into.
I kept getting the TV turned off.
I say this is and I mean, not that I'm genius when it comes to soccer, but this seemed like the most aggressive offensive U.S. team that I've ever seen.
Well, that's what I was saying Saturday.
They played in, the Iran zone the whole first half.
Yeah.
It seemed like they, kept a few scoring opportunities. Listen, catches it on one. They almost got a second one, but it got called back for an offside, which I think's dumb, but whatever. But I just don't ever remember them I'm just used to watching them, and it seems like they're always just waiting it out.
Yeah, and
hopefully in the second half, they can pounce on a goal.
That's kind of what it was against Wales. I thought they were really aggressive early, and then they got conservative. It was almost like both teams were just okay with the draw because it was their first World Cup.
Well,
I think.
I feel like maybe that was I feel like the U.S. was fine, coming to Qatar and fucking be like, if we don't win a game, as long as we don't lose, we'll be fine if we go for 3 ties.
But there was a switch. There definitely was a huge difference between the Wales game and the England game, which I thought they were beyond impressive. I learned more from that England game in a draw than I did from them scoring 1 goal against Wales.
And I'm guessing maybe the team learned too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they were a little
a top tier team. I believe, right? They probably have a chance to win it. Right?
Who, England?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd give them top 8 odds.
Okay.
Somewhere there. Top 7.
In soccer, that's probably good.
Yeah.
These games are 1-2 goal games.
And that's what I was saying. I expected us to score against Wales. Yeah, and then the way they played against England carried over today.
Confidence, and they're okay,
yeah, absolutely. But I think that's the thing we have to write on is we have athleticism. We don't have the soccer discipline like some of these other teams to slow it down. And that's what I was texting you. I was worried about today.
And I kind of noticed that in today's game when Iran comes out in the second half, and it's they had this in their arsenal the whole time. They were willing to just sit back.
Well, because all they needed was a draw in the first half. All they cared about was a draw.
Yeah, but I feel like you play for a draw, you're playing to lose.
That is true, but if they pressure too much, I think they're afraid of giving up a goal. Which, I mean,
for me, it's is it worse for the U.S. to score early?
No, I thought they
knew. You got to play, 80 minutes.
I wanted them to score
70
early.
to 80 minutes of hardcore soccer because now they're trying to tie it up.
So here's the thing with that.
To just try to score in the second half.
No.
Limit that.
Because if you.
This was a long game today.
It was.
A lot of injury.
But if you score early against them, because Iran clearly came out, I don't know what set they were in, but they were clearly in a defensive front to where they weren't trying to attack as much. If you score early, you force them to open up their strategies a little bit more, which equals out to more counter oppositions for us if they start pushing the ball more. And I definitely think we were more athletic than them. Oh, I know.
It looks so beautiful.
But also, the last 2 games, we've seen so many chances for them. I mean, Pulisic had, I think, 2 more against England that he easily could have connected on. So they're finding their mojo. It's just, I still think they're a few years away.
They almost makes a header.
Oh my gosh, I know.
And
So
I was going to be done at that point. Because I'm like, hey, they ain't going to score. But, it's good to see them make the knockout round. They haven't made the knockout round many times.
no,
They've
wait a
only
minute.
won one knockout round game. So
I think the main thing is that I think Pulisic needs a strong number 2 to take some of the pressure off of him. It's kind of like if he's not.
I thought that way guy was good. And,
Shout out to Pete Davidson, by the way.
yeah, I don't.
No wonder he's landing all these women. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously he's using a alias playing in the world.
Right.
Cup, but
oh my
I
gosh,
mean,
I do like Walker's.
Hopefully he keeps his dog in check out there.
Right.
I don't want to get called for a handball if that thing flies out or something.
I do like Walker Zimmerman for the U.S. too. He came on late today, and then DeAndre Yedlin. Also, I don't think he came on today, but he's on the team. He's from University of Akron.
But like I said, I've seen some difference. I've seen a lot of speed.
I've seen a lot of growth. So here's my question with this: is I guess leading into the speed and the growth.
What's that?
Here's my question with this: like talking about like speed and the growth. Something I was thinking about today is how it seems like we always have the athleticism, but we're still consistently behind all these teams when it gets to the world stage. So I had a theory.
I mean, I'll tell you this. And this is the way I see it. It's like all these other teams, like soccer's the number 1 sport. Like, if we go to these places and actually play American football, we're going to kick the shit out of them.
Right.
You know?
And I fully agree with this.
Basketball.
And you're setting me up.
Basketball has changed. You know why the gap in basketball has changed? Because the NBA got more popular globally. Like when the Dream Team, goes to Barcelona, and the world finally sees the NBA. Now, somebody's like, "Oh, I want my kid to play basketball."
And we're starting to get there with soccer slowly.
Like when the U.S. goes and plays, they don't win every time.
No.
They don't win 95% of the time.
But there's also more of a
I think we're going to look, 25 years down the road. I know that's a long time, and nobody wants to wait that long. But like soccer is probably more popular in the U.S. than it's ever been.
and
I
here.
don't know how it was when you were in high school, but when I was 20 years ago, you got made fun of if you played soccer.
And all you really cared about was like.
Sport. But now it's like the cool sport to play.
Right, and it was more like Mia Hamm kind of broke that.
Everybody's playing soccer now. Like, I didn't know anybody that played soccer
So
when I was younger. But like now, like any kid at like 5, 6 years old is getting out there, kicking the ball around, playing soccer. So it's getting way more popular. I think the teams are only going to get better from here forward because people that wanted to play soccer 20 years ago are playing soccer now.
So here,
I think I've seen a couple of those guys out there.
so here's a theory I thought of today. It's in comparison to worldwide soccer and American basketball. When you think about how basketball really took a next step here, when you break it down, it was so easy. It was, how do I want to say this? Almost like uncoached basketball, where kids would just go to the park and you played, and you developed on your own. And I feel like what we have here in the United States with that basketball, as far as how that has took off, is just pick up basketball, is how the rest of the world is with soccer, where these kids will just go out unsupervised.
They're playing football with trash rolled up to the ball, taped together.
And that's the thing. It's like
bare feet, Or you also see these countries where like these people are just born into like soccer camps.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That for like their whole like adolescent years,
But how they're brought up to going out and just playing soccer It's how over here's been for the last 20-some years about you just go outside and play basketball with your boys. And you develop your skills based off of whether someone stopped you or not. And if so, and that's why I think we're catching up to that, and we're still behind, but we're getting there. But that was like my theory today was like, okay, this is such a comparison.
With the athleticism, the availability of strength and conditioning in America, like they can catch up as long as they get
They can.
athletes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Catch up,
I agree. So they play Netherlands on Saturday morning. Do you have a prediction?
I mean, I'd love to see him win, but obviously I have my concerns with the injury to Blessed. Like he's the face of the team.
That's my word. It's like if he doesn't score, who's scoring?
Yeah, and they haven't shown that they can even score with him playing.
Yeah.
Like, so you'd like to think, but I probably if they lose, I think it's gonna be 2-0.
Okay, I had a 2-1, so we're pretty close.
Well, see, I think if they get a goal, they have a chance. If they score first, I think they have a chance.
Yeah, okay, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, I like our goalie's been playing really good. I mean, he's only given up one goal, and that was on the penalty kick.
Yeah, and you can't fault a guy for that.
Are you do you think America is going to care about soccer after this is done? Like, if we lose Saturday, is soccer gaining?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's been tough.
They said 15 million people.
An event like this to spark.
You do. Especially leading up into 2026.
And stuff. And I feel like, it always sucks when these tournaments are in other countries and, it's, 7 o'clock when they're playing that game over there. So they're playing at
What's it?
2 here.
2 here is like 10 there, I think.
Yeah. Not a lot of kids have been able to watch these games.
No.
A lot of parents have been able to watch these games because they've been at work. So, like, I don't know. Like, I know the diehards, have planned for it. So,
yeah.
But they're always going to be excited. As for gathering the news fan, I don't know.
They said 15 million watched the game against England on Friday. Now, I know a lot of it has to do with people being off work, but at the same time,
15 million, but that's worldwide?
No, United States numbers.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah. 17 million for Ohio State, Michigan.
You're only getting like 7 million on an NBA Finals game, right?
I think it's more than that. They said it was the most watched.
I don't think it's ever over 10 million.
Maybe not.
I mean, if you get LeBron and
yeah, I think they said it was the most watched soccer game since 1994 in the United States. I think that was like.
Well, that makes sense too because nobody worked Friday.
Yeah, which helps, but still.
So I can see that.
But in comparison, 17 million watched Ohio State, Michigan on Saturday, and that was supposed to be the biggest football game of the weekend.
Right,
so
people care.
Hopefully Saturday morning people wake up and watch.
It sucks though because now it's 4 more years.
Oh, I know. It is.
And we're going to where? It's going to be U.S.?
It's North America. So U.S., Canada, Mexico.
So it's going to be the whole shebang.
Yeah, it's going to be confusing.
So, I mean, I think the build-up's going to be great.
I think it will be, too.
Got 15 million, I think they could hit some 20 million views.
A USA Mexico
But
match in 4 years.
The timing's going to be right. People are going to be able to drink Budweisers.
People can drink Budweisers here at 2 o'clock.
They pay $75 million for it.
Hey, well, no one's drinking Budweisers over there that day, but, I mean, people will go to the bars. I wonder what time, because that's interesting, too. Think about that. But what time does the bars aren't open till?
They're still selling. I heard they're still selling the Budweiser Zero.
I saw that, too. I did see someone in the stands with one. Yes. So here's my question.
Apparently, like I heard, too, is like they don't want to like introduce alcohol to their.
I don't think alcohol.
Like,
yeah, I think they're.
Everybody over there is going to turn into alcoholics, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think they serve alcohol over there, or they can you can drink alcohol. But here's the other thing: it's like.
I don't even know like
They have a contract with FIFA. It was like a 10-year
I
contract.
mean, hasn't this like still been good for Budweiser? Like,
Probably when it's all said and done. Yeah, when it's all said and done, probably. The other thing is like no one's going to be able to go to the bars to watch this game Saturday morning because there's no bars open at 9 a.m. Like we couldn't just be like, hey, let's go watch the game.
But that doesn't because there'll be places that open up.
You think so? So where are we going?
Huh?
Where are we going?
Well, I gotta work, man.
I gotta get a Christmas tree. Tis the season.
You can get a Christmas tree after the game.
I know, but then I got a pregame for Michigan.
Yeah, but that'll be a good buffer in between. You know, I always like when like the Steelers play a late game. I'm like, oh, of course I want to work. I don't want to sit around all day waiting for it.
Right.
Plus, if US loses, then it gives you something to do to get your mind off it. That's why I haven't even had the ESPN on. I don't want to hear them talk about Michigan beating Ohio State the ass on down the field. Like, it's been a slow. Luckily, the Steelers won last night.
They did. They did.
So, you know, get on some Pat McAfee show today and
Yeah.
listen to that. I guess they were just busting out there last night in Pat McAfee's suite, having a good old time.
Speaking of suites, did you see who has a suite at the Texans game this weekend?
Did not.
10 of the accusers of Deshaun Watson. I swear to you. And Tony Busby.
That, I don't know how I
So,
heard about this, and I wish I had heard about it earlier. I don't want to have a direct opinion so quickly.
I know. It is very out there as far as.
I feel like that's a bad look for them.
So, let me, before you say anything more, let me just.
Are they going to go there and,
Well,
protest or what?
Well, hold on. Before you get too deep into the thought, this was reported by numerous mainstream media outlets. So, there is that. And the report was that the accusers want to go to show that they are still here and they're still, how do I word this? They are not to be forgotten about, basically.
Okay, and here's my second question about this. Did they buy the suite?
That is what I want to know, too.
Because this is a bad look on the Texans. I think if they ended up providing this.
Because they just settled with them, too, in a different lawsuit. Or different civil suit. And yeah.
That's bad news written all over it.
Because that's why I'm like, all right, so was this in the agreement of the civil suit that you got tickets to this game, or did you actually pay the team that you just sued? That.
I mean, do we even know if Watson's playing?
Watson is playing. 100%.
If the Browns would
100%.
have lost on Sunday, would Watson be playing?
Yes.
All right.
They have nothing else to run off of right now.
I don't know. I mean, that's developing opinions. And,
yeah, it doesn't sit. It doesn't sit well with me
know.
either. Because I just had those two questions. Like, okay, did you negotiate this in the civil suit? And then, if not, you went and paid for these tickets to the team you sued? That seems to throw me off. I could see if they were like, okay, we're going to form a protest outside, like, blah, 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 blah. I would fully expect that, honestly.
Like, okay, we're rallying, we're doing this, we want a bunch of
right.
people to come out in support of us.
Right, I fully would expect that.
Going into the game, it's like, it just speaks to me like they're not, I don't know, it's like they're making a game of this now when it's supposed to be, a serious matter. And it is.
And now, I mean, you could also look at it as like more people.
Kind of into a circus.
More people might decide with Deshaun Watson at this point now after seeing this.
I mean, I definitely it will sway public opinion a bit.
And I don't know if I could defend that too much.
As far as like what it says, like I mean, the fact of the matter is in sports, this is the shit that happens. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. This is where we are at. The people still watch the games.
Right. There are. As I've been told before,
so much money. They're going to make so much money. And Deshaun Watson's going to get his piece of the pie.
As I've been told before, there are plenty of players in NFL locker rooms that if you truly know what was going on in their lives, you probably wouldn't be a fan of those players.
Oh.
And
definitely. And,
which not.
I had to look in the mirror a few times early in Ben's career and be like, do I support this
And that's not to be a damper on this episode. And I didn't really want to get too deep into Deshaun Watson because I know. Because I feel like he does. I still feel like he doesn't deserve that much time yet to be talked about. But I thought that was just an interesting little development that popped up today. That I thought, I don't know, it was weird. So, did you have your good Thanksgiving?
Oh yeah. Had all the
Still eating leftovers?
Good. What's that?
Still eating leftovers?
Well, I didn't have any leftovers. We traveled, so I brought one plate worth home, and that got eaten Thursday night. So.
I think I could say I ate like 5 pieces of turkey this week, and that's it.
I did not gobble down much on the turkey.
What did you eat? Because you said you were ready for like round 3 at 8 o'clock at night on Thursday.
Well, that was the thing. I mean, I went heavy on the stuffing.
Okay, definitely.
2 servings of stuffing. Those places I went.
I haven't had gluten-free stuffing.
I had the good old, green bean casserole.
Wow, we did not have that. I literally just ate stuffing and pasta, and that was it.
Had a lot of noodles. Had some lasagna. When everybody else
Really?
went for pie, I went for some lasagna.
So you had hold on.
We got some vegetarians.
I understand that, but is this all at one house?
I went to 2 places.
Okay, I was like, if you had noodles, lasagna, turkey, stuffing, green bean casserole, like that is a spread. If that was all at one place.
Jenna and her mom are vegetarian.
Right.
They always have a lasagna going, which I just take as dessert. I eat the lasagna as my dessert. I don't do pie or anything like that. So, yeah, we had the noodles there.
What kind of noodles? We're talking like butter noodles?
They were like
the thick
butter,
one?
garlicky.
Gotcha, okay. Gotcha.
Deal. We had, the carrots, we had the corn, we had peas, we had the stuffing.
God, we got everything.
They had the yams.
Too much stuff. Too much. Too much.
So that really made it to the table. I guess they didn't cook good enough. But I don't eat that shit.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't need that. That's too much food. You don't need.
I had about 6 brown and serve rolls, slapped the butter on that.
Oh my gosh, you're a criminal.
And then
you cannot eat rolls on Thanksgiving. Like you cannot eat bread on Thanksgiving.
What do you mean?
What? That's room for other stuff. You had 17 other courses.
Yeah, but you ever see those brown and serve rolls?
Yeah.
You can literally like put one in your hand and like.
But still.
It's like barely bigger than like a golf ball.
I won't even eat any salad. There's too much other stuff. I'm not wasting my stomach on salad.
Plus the green bean casserole. I have another plate up here. And, I can't miss out on the green bean casserole. I always started eating it like 3 years ago. And now
it's so good.
We gotta have that shit.
Yeah, it's so good. I think I had some peach cobbler late in the night and it set me over the top. I tell you, I was like, I'm done.
But, you said that you drank your meal, so you're talking about me eating rolls and not leaving room for anything. But you said you were on liquid diet.
Hey, Ashley started pouring, and then I looked over and she was half a bottle of wine deep right into dinner. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, so we
let's just say
early to Jen's parents hit it up later at my cousin's side. I started pouring me up some rum and Pepsi. All good. I tried some Crown apple with some cranberry juice. That was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. All I know
Watch the football.
Kids table was popping off at our Thanksgiving. But I kept trying to watch soccer and I kept getting the TV turned on me. Because I think who was playing? Portugal was playing.
Well, nobody wants to go to Thanksgiving and watch soccer. Like people would rather watch the Detroit Lions.
I'm just saying I would rather watch soccer than the Detroit Lions.
A game as they always do.
And hope back-to-back years, Detroit Lions have lost on the last-second field goal on Thanksgiving, and Michigan has won.
I'll tell you this, though. If Detroit played on Thanksgiving every game
they do
for a whole season.
Oh.
But I'm saying for a whole season. Like if their whole season was Thanksgiving days, they probably won a Super Bowl. At least been to a Super Bowl.
Maybe.
They're always competitive. They're always competitive on Thanksgiving.
Maybe. Any other takeaways from the NFL? Kind of a lame duck week, I guess.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on Pittsburgh.
Go ahead.
On Monday night.
Shoot your shot.
What's that?
I said shoot your shot.
Oh, well, I'm not sure if I want Pittsburgh to be winning games, but
What, you guys lost like
that all week,
4 draft
game
picks?
happens.
What was that? Like you dropped 4 spots, I guess? Something like that. From like 8 to 12, maybe?
Every time we win a game, we lose like 3 spots.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So you're happy with the win, though? Like,
well,
but here's the thing.
Like, all week I'll be like, well, the Steelers don't win. It's okay. You know, the draft's coming, blah, blah, blah. But then when the game comes, I'm like, oh, I want to win. I want to win. And, you know, Pickett's playing better. He's had 3 straight games where he hasn't turned the ball over. They played great last week, I thought, against the Bengals offensively.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if we score 30 points, we should win every game. The defense let us down. But, you know, they won last night. Some of that, you know.
Here's a question.
Saturday,
I heard.
Starting to show
I heard.
on his coaching. You know, Bryson took some time out at the end of the game and gave his team a chance to possibly, you know, tie it up.
So real quick, I have a question though, because talking about like the draft picks, if your team is constantly improving over the rest of the season and drops a couple spots in the draft, are you okay with that? Because it's still a first-round pick. So I just didn't know if you were okay with if there's constant progression like there has been the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, like 4 or 5 weeks ago, we were like 5 pick.
Correct.
And a lot of this, even then, I was like, we're in a pretty good spot here with Pickett. Like,
Oh,
I know
absolutely.
he's been throwing it, but like something more his fault, and I just knew that. Like,
There's still the Matt Canada blame.
He showed me enough that like he's gonna like start making better decisions. And the offense is getting better and better. He plays good with Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's getting comfortable and confident. So get some kind of stud here.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's still gonna be a good, you know, first round pick. But I think you never know what's gonna happen. So, you know, you like the well is I was for the Bears to keep losing because we're gonna pull that second round pick.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be pretty high. And then we'll still have another decent second round pick that's ourselves. So we're gonna get, you know, I think right now we might be slated to have 3 picks in the top 40. So
Okay. Good deal. So I think we're gonna wrap that up with that episode. There wasn't much to talk about NFL this week. Everything was dominated by college football, World Cup, almost called the World Series. We'll probably start getting more NBA as we go forward once this next week of college football dies down and we get the matchups, and then we spend 17 weeks talking about the Final Four, just like we did with the Super Bowl. So we'll have that. Yeah, I mean, unless you have anything else you want to kick in right now, but
Russell Wilson.
Nah, I'm not going to cut him. Just saying.
That's it.
If you designate him, or no, everyone out.
I know that you had to go with this draft.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I think it's happened.
The fact that I have to think about this is pissing me off. Like the fact that we're having this conversation and we're not even through the season.
But if they hire what's his name?
I would rather see it go one more year.
Well, yeah.
Coordinator, I want a coach, someone who has coached football in the NFL.
I know, but you guys have this like great defense.
Yeah.
And,
cool. So hire someone who's coached offense in the NFL.
Yeah, but look what happened to the Vikings. Like they had that defensive coach, they kind of built a defense up there, but their offense really struggled, and then they got that guy from the Rams, and you know, I don't know.
At this point, if we're gonna hire a coordinator, I'd rather get someone from college.
If you're gonna do it, I think just because you're gonna have
the enemy,
Kansas City to win.
We go in though. I feel like you'd have to go.
When he hasn't been able to get a job, he'll go anyway. You know.
Oh.
He's not Josh McDaniels. now an NFL head coach that got the money pretty much handpicked where he went.
I think that's what he's afraid of, though. I think that's what he's afraid of. Why risk it when you can just ride the Patrick Mahomes tail?
Well, he interviews for jobs every year. He doesn't go. You want to be a head coach. If you didn't want to be a head coach, what if you go to the interviews and then try?
We'll see. I don't know. I do think we need someone else. I would let it ride one more. One more.
I mean, you have. They got too much.
Yeah.
Jump in after 1 year.
I agree.
You got
True.
to ride this investment out.
That's true. And you can't draft it, right? What is there to talk about? We don't talk about the Houston Texans. Fair enough. I'm going to wrap this up. Follow us on Channel Podcast. So we will get back to you guys next week. Post-conference championship weekend. I think the college playoff rankings are on Sunday, so we can have plenty of time to think about the bowl games, and we'll go from there.